Welcome back to Build Not Wish. This is our first episode on body. This is what it's all about. This is why I made the podcast episodes. Next week, I'll be turning 61 and trying to get myself in shape where I can make it a little bit longer, you know what I'm saying? And I got the Fab Five beautiful grandchildren that are my motivation, and I'm asking all of you to help me be motivated. And that's what this podcast is about. And Monday we talked about mind, and that the mind can, on occasion, screw us up. And to get the mind right, and watch your inputs. Feed your mind. Don't let it do its own thing, because it's not all that dependable, according to neuroscience. But today it's about body. And am I in the greatest of shape? No, I'm not. I'm 6'2", 240 plus pounds. Need to be less than that. And so I need to be looking at, I've been doing some exercises for rather consistently. I also work a full-time job. This is my hobby. This is what I do. In the evenings and the weekends. But what's that look like? What's a old fat guy, 61 years old, supposed to be doing for exercise? I'm going to tell you what I do. All right, that doesn't mean it's right. You can look at me and say, okay, he's not Mr. Atlas by any stretch. And I'm not looking to be Mr. Atlas. I have watched a lot of doctors, and they talk about what it really means, the things that hit you the most for longevity. And one of the things that I just learned that I have not been doing, that I'm going to start doing, is more cardio. I have not. I've been doing calisthenics, really, and kettlebells. And believe me, the kettlebells turn into a cardio for me. All right. But you know what? Something I like doing is we have a garden tub in the bathroom, out the master bedroom. And I do what I call my steps. And so it's a rather tall step to get, you got to step up to get into the bathtub. And so I like doing I just take my left foot and I pick it up off the floor and I just set it on the bathtub ledge. It's actually tiled. And then I set it back down. Then I pick up my right foot. I do that. And then I set it down. And I do that to get to 100. And then I added 2.5 pound dumbbells. So I pick up my left foot, put it down, and I would take a dumbbell in my right hand and I raise it over my head. And then I would switch and do it the other way. You can do all sorts of things, but I'm going to tell you something. Here's what I really want to talk about the body. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to exercise. I'm assuming you all know that, and I am not an exercise aficionado. Obviously, you look at me, you know I'm not. But I am working pretty hard. And I want to piggyback on what I was talking about on Monday's episode, on the first episode of The Mind, episode 1, and that our mind plays tricks on us. We have to train our minds to don't discount your mind, because it's wanting you to do what you've done. And we can't live with that. I can't live with that. I mean, I went for many years without exercising. I can't continue to do that. I have to do better. And I have been doing better. And I've got a system that I'm going to be rolling out here to show you what I have to do to make myself exercise. And guess what? It isn't. It isn't the old mind, because the mind will tell you, oh, hit the snooze one more time, just 10 more minutes or whatever it goes. I don't know. Or it'll tell you, oh, your bed is warm today. Why don't you just stay in it? That's easy. But that's what our brain wants us to do. It takes the path of least resistance. It wants to keep us comfortable. Getting in shape, I'll be honest with you, at 61 is not comfortable. I got a family of arthritis, an inheritance of arthritis to go through. But I'm going to tell you, the exercise does help that too. The benefits of exercise, I'm not going to sit here and have to tell you all the benefits of exercise, because I think that you can quickly do a quick internet search and you can recognize all the benefits of exercising. And I'm talking to you if you're 61, 71, or 21. And I employ some 21-year-olds, and they need to exercise. We need to get off scrolling. We need to get off screens. And we need to get to exercising. And I'm trying to do more cardio. But the other one for longevity that I'm just starting to do, don't discount exercises concerning balance. Those core exercises, those standing on one foot, raising your one foot in front of you, putting your one foot behind you, trying to do a one-legged squat. Balance exercises for a guy my age is critical. So something to keep in mind. Like I said, I'm not looking to be Lou Ferrigno or Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's not my goal here. My goal, well, all right, if my children are watching, I'll embarrass them. My goal here is to have a long time sex with my wife. So that's why I need to improve cardio. Another thing that the body is important on is our diets. And I am married to a woman that is phenomenal in every way. I'm a very, very fortunate and blessed man. She is more concerned about me and my health than I am, or I have been, and I'm trying to be better about that, and I am. And that's why I'm exercising. That's why I'm meditating, and I'm spending time in prayer, and spending time in scripture, reading to sharpen my mind. And all those things go together to help the body. Because when you get into that routine, you don't have to think about it. You do it. And I've talked about repeatedly on Built Not Wished podcasts about set the standard. The standard is non-negotiable. This is what we do. I get out of bed, I make the coffee, I drink my water with salt and lemon in it, and then I exercise. It's non-negotiable. That's the standard. And if that's the standard, then that's what we do. That's what standards are. And you have to have standards. Because if you have standards, then you don't have to think about stuff quite so much. And when you're not thinking about it, you're removing that necessity to engage the brain. And I've talked about before about shooting. My wife and I used to shoot competitively. I love shooting. But that is a diminishable skill. If you don't practice, you get worse. The more you practice, the better you get. Same thing with exercise. So I encourage you, take the time, get on your face, do 10 push-ups. If you can't do 10, do all that you can do. Do jumping jacks. Have any of you ever done a wall sit? You know, where you put your back up against the wall and you lower your butt till your thighs are at a 90-degree angle to the floor. They're perpendicular to the floor. And sit on that wall for a minute. It's not easy. I was on a kick for a while here where I was doing 100 push-ups a day. I'm not doing 100 push-ups. I've got some bad shoulders, but and that really accentuated. And I didn't do 100 push-ups at once. I want to be real clear. But I'm going to tell you what, if you do 10 push-ups, if you do 10 sets of 10 over the course of a 12-hour day while you're awake, it's life-changing. But you also need to stretch. Get rid of the processed foods. It's not easy. And I have it far easier than most because, like I said, I have a beautiful bride that truly takes care of me, and she does enjoy cooking, and that's a real help. I read a story about Warren Buffett, and this is something that really stuck with me. And it came from the book by, I know where I read Stephen Bartlett is he has the podcast called The Diary of a CEO. The name of that podcast, I think, is very misleading because, yes, he is a CEO of multiple companies and he's a trillionaire. And he's 30 years old. And but he wrote a book called The Diary of a CEO, and I read that book, and he had a story in there about Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett was trying to get those young people to understand. He said, if you could pick one car, these are college students, so they're in their late teens or early 20s, pick one car. Any car you want, what would that one car be? But here's the stipulation. You have to drive that car for the rest of your life. That's the only car you get. That is no different than our bodies. It's the only one we get. I remember when my dad passed, I was sitting with him, and my dad always, it's a McKee trait, especially in stressful situations, our coping mechanism, we always default to humor. And Dad was laying there, and he looked at me, and I had my hand on that rail that goes up and down on the side of the hospital bed, and he patted my hand. And I looked at him, and he says, you know, son, and I'll be candid, he rarely called me son. He said, if I would have known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. I laughed, which is what he wanted me to do. But over these many years, and now decades since he's passed, I've thought about that often. And I don't want to be in that situation, so I have to take better care of myself. But just like Warren Buffett's story about that car, it's the only car you get. You got to drive it for the rest of your life. That's our bodies. So would you run the car till you've pegged the RPMs out every day you drive it? Probably not. Do you think you'd go get the oil changed regularly as it's scheduled to? Probably. Why don't we do that? And I'm not going to get into the whole thing about doctors. I have a lot of my own beliefs about that. I'm not going to get into it here, but I will say this. Exercise. Get your steps in. Get your mind right. When you get your mind right, you get your mind right, you can also be exercising. In ancient times, monks would walk a same path all the time. And they knew every step, every footfall, where it would fall, what they would be under their feet. That they didn't have to think about walking, and they didn't have to think about their steps, or they didn't have to think about the terrain. And then they could take their minds and start meditating as they're walking. That is when you're going to make improvements to your body. Don't let your mind do it. Make exercise part of your standard, non-negotiable. It's just done. There's no exception. And I promise you, as I have experienced this personally, and I'm not there, all right? I'm not some perfect. I'm not. Look at me, all right? However, I'm on the path, and I'm inviting you to be on the path with me. I would like you to go to our website, builtnotwish.com. You'll find the podcast there. I'm going to start uploading these videos. I have not done that because I just started doing these videos. You can find us on YouTube, on TikTok. I would like you to join us. Join this community of Built Not Wished, of men who are trying to be better in mind, body, and spirit. Thank you.